Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Gazelle coming in live today for this week's drop in call for how to quiet your mind, how to feel calmer, how to enjoy life more. And every week we jump in here live and I share a new piece to help you further your understanding about accessing your quiet mind. I also love getting questions from you. So if you have any questions that come up today or that you've been wondering for a while and would just love to answer. I would love to hear your questions. So, how you can submit those is through the comments. I'm streaming through another platform, so I can't see who's here on LinkedIn. I know there was quite a few of you who RSVP'd. So, thanks for being here either live or on the replay. If you have questions and would love to contribute, comment, anything like that, if you post it in the comments under the event that you're in watching this, I will see your comments in real time. So, for those of you who are watching live, I would love to hear where you're from, where in the world. Just drop a quick note in the comments and let me know where you're tuning in from. This call will only be about 30 minutes today because I'm not going deep into my background, my history, why I do this, why I talk about this. If you'd like to learn more about me and my background, you can visit my LinkedIn profile page. And right on the main page, there is a replay recording of another one of these calls where I go deep into my history, who I am. So you're welcome to watch that replay recording and learn more about me. All that you need to know today is that I'm Tracy Gazelle. I'm the founder of CQ Calm Quotient. So I lead one-on-one coaching for leaders. I lead teams as well for trainings to learn how to apply this into the business setting, leading and living with a quiet mind, accessing your innate well-being that's always inside of you so that you can lower stress, feel calmer, improve communication and relationships at work and at home, and simply enjoy life more. So, there are all kinds of benefits that come from quieting your mind. It sounds kind of simple, quieting your mind. And those of you that have tried it know that it's not simple. It seems not simple. It also sounds like a compartment, like a shelf, a piece of your life that you try and get to sometimes if you have time. It's kind of like work life balance. It's a trendy topic. A lot of people know about it and have tried it, but it's something that you try and get to, but if you're like me, it often gets to the bottom of your to-do list. And then when at the end of the day rolls around, you just find you don't have time for that work-life balance. How am I supposed to squeeze that in? Quieting your mind can feel like that. Like it's something that I need to do once a day to check off the box, say that I've done it. I've done my work-life balance, my self-care for the day. I've quieted my mind. It's kind of like meditation. That's how I used to treat meditation. Try and get to it once a day. This is different. What I'm talking about is different. A quiet mind, living with a quiet mind is a place to be, a place to live from, a place to work from. It's a new way of being, and it's a state of mind that you live from in all areas of your life. So it's not just something that you do 5 minutes in the morning, like a meditation, or something that you try and squeeze in at the end of the day for your work life balance. This is a new way of being throughout your day. And so when I say it's a new way of being, it's a new way of using your mind. It's starting to recognize that who you really are is a quiet mind. That is your natural state. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that. We've all got a lot of thinking going on. The world moves fast, life moves fast, and it's easy to get caught up in all the thinking about everything going on, everything we have to do, everything that's coming, on and on and on. It doesn't end, right? But starting to live from a quiet mind is starting to recognize that this is who you really are. If you can imagine, it's your background to your experience. So it's the background. It's always there in the background. It's kind of like a movie set, right? So if your quiet mind was the movie set, so it's the stage, the set, the props, the background. And then in the foreground is the movie, which could also be your thoughts. So in the movie analogy, then, when the movie's not playing, right? When the actors and all the set and the staff and everyone, they go home for the day, but the set, the background, the stage is still there. That's your quiet mind. So when your thoughts start to quiet down, the movie stops playing for a little while because it's constantly running. When it starts to quiet down, all that's left is actually your quiet mind in the background that's been there all along. And when you start to practice sinking back into that space, your quiet mind of who you really are, of your true self, um, you start to change your relationship with your thoughts. So for myself, the first time I connected to my quiet mind, my calm center is another word for it. There's so many different words for it. Calm center, quiet mind. It really reminded me of being a young kid. It reminded me of this part of myself that I had forgotten about. It reminded me of, it just felt like the real me, but it had been covered up with all these layers of experiences throughout my life and thinking of who I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to doing and was I doing enough and was I doing it fast enough and all the thinking and experiences and beliefs and judgments and things that come along with becoming an adult and then living a life with all the responsibilities. That creates all these layers, but beneath it all is that space that, again, is very childlike. Doesn't mean we it doesn't mean we lose anything by tuning into it. It means we get closer to when we feel most like ourselves, where life feels more easy, more free, and carefree. Kind of like when you see kids running around. My daughter's 6 years old, and I can see she's starting to get busy up here. But she still has that childlike wonder with a lot of things. It's really great. Yesterday, she was digging for dinosaur bones in the playground and was totally convinced they found one. So just being so immersed in what you're doing as a child, that's that childlike wonder. I'll pause and see if there's any questions or comments for anyone who's watching live, or if you're watching the replay, I'll get to your comments after. But have you tried to access your quiet mind before? Have you tried meditating? Have you tried mindfulness, mindset work, any of those mind training, even therapy, things where you've tried to feel calmer, feel peaceful, and found it just didn't work for you? Or what was your experience when you tried it? Maybe it did work for you. Drop a note in the comments and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. A little bit of a personal question. By the way, next week, I'm thinking of switching this to an audio event over LinkedIn so I can see who's there and people can put their hand up and it can be more collaborative, which I love. So I might switch to that next week, but we'll see. So if any of you are watching live and you are feeling brave and would like to share personally in the comments, I'd love to hear it. If not, that's okay too, of course. Um, by the way, I do hold one-on-one conversations with my network to get to know my network and do a free executive coaching session for a couple people every month. So if you would like to have this conversation with me one-on-one in a more private setting, just send me a LinkedIn message and we can set up a time to connect. I'd be happy to do that. I know it's a little scary putting yourself out there in LinkedIn land with work and everything, but I can keep going about the thought conversation, because that is the secret. That is the key, is when you start to recognize your experience and your relationship with your thinking mind, that's when everything starts to shift, right? So if you are this quiet mind, that is who you truly are, is your quiet mind. And then in the foreground, just like that movie, you have thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts, a lot of thoughts. But here's the thing, just because you think a thought doesn't mean it's true. We have so many different thoughts throughout the day. Tens of thousands of thoughts is the estimate, but who actually knows? Sometimes they're coming in really fast, right? It's hard to know. And they can be anything from narrating your experience. Have you noticed that? Thoughts will say, oh, there's a bird. Oh, there's a tree. Oh, I got to wipe that mark there. And oh, there's this, there's that. And it's narrating. And then you have thoughts coming up about the past, reminding you of things that you didn't like or bothered you, or that's something you're carrying with you. Thoughts about the future, what could be coming, what we're trying to plan for, even though we don't know what's happening. Thoughts about ourselves, and thoughts about other people, right? Those are the four places where our minds go when they leave the present moment: the past, the future, another person, and ourselves. So we have all these thoughts coming in all the time, all the time, all the time. But the secret is to start noticing your thoughts from a third person point of view. So rather than being fully immersed in them, and that's how a lot of us end up, right? Not intentionally, but it seems like our thoughts are reality. And so everything we think, we grab onto and we're in it. We're in it. But it doesn't have to be that way. It starts to become where you take a step back and you become a third party, a third person party to your thoughts, noticing them. And when you start to notice your thoughts instead of being completely immersed by them, then you can start to pick and choose which ones you want to listen to, which ones you want to pay attention to, which ones you want to let go of. So you can start to notice, oh, I'm having that narrating thought again about everything I see. That's adding a lot of extra noise to my system. I don't want to listen to that one anymore. Or, oh, there's those thoughts coming up from the past about something that happened in high school that I have no control over now. I don't need to think about that anymore. It's in the past. I can let that one go. There's nothing I can do about it. Right? Or thoughts about ourselves or anywhere that our minds go, we can start to recognize those thoughts coming in. It's almost becomes like a radio that's playing in the other room. And it's just droning on, and you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to act on them. That's huge. A lot of people who do this type of coaching that I do, that's called three principle coaching, a lot of people go into the jails to help the inmates because it has been really impactful for a lot of inmates to learn that just because they have a thought about something that they could do, they don't have to act on it. And it sounds simple enough, but for some people, that is huge. So just because they come from a harder background and they think they need to live a certain life, that's just a thought. Where they think they need to hurt someone or do something against the law, that's just a thought. They don't have to act on it. So it starts to become this realization that just because I'm having a thought doesn't mean it's true. And it doesn't mean I have to act on it. Most of our thoughts are habits. They're recycled thoughts from yesterday, playing over and over and again and again. And they over time form beliefs that we have about ourselves and about the world. But the more that you start to see them from that third person point of view, the more you can see, oh, well, maybe that's just made of thought. Maybe I'm not feeling XYZ, whatever, all these deep, dark beliefs we have about ourselves, not enough, hopeless, worthless. I'll never get there. I've heard I'm an almoster. Like I almost reach my goals, but I never quite get there. Never, not enough is a really big one from a lot of people I hear. So fill in whatever your deep dark thought of choice is, your self-limiting belief of choice. Never enough. I'll never get there. I'm almost hit my goals, but never quite. That too is just a thought. So those deep-seated beliefs, that monkey mind chatter I hear, that inner critic voice that comes up once in a while for every single human being, oh, that negative self-talk, that's just a thought. That's not rooted in reality. And a thought is just a temporary condensation of energy, of experience. Because when we're not thinking a thought, where does that thought go? I ask a lot of people this. Nobody knows the answer. And as far as I know, psychology and neuroscience also doesn't know the answer of where thoughts go, where they're located when we're not currently thinking about them. Best I can say is they're back in the ether, back in who knows where. Basically, they don't exist, right? When we're not thinking a thought, it doesn't exist. But when we are thinking a thought, it seems very real. very emotional, highly charged, fiery, tangible. It seems like it's so real, some of these thoughts, especially those deep, dark, self limiting beliefs like, I'm not good enough. I'll never get there. Not enough. It feels so real because it feels so icky. And it feels so icky because we're always feeling our thinking. So, whatever we're thinking about is how we're feeling. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that backwards from what I always thought? So if that's the case, right, we're always feeling our thinking, but thoughts themselves are not actually real. They're only real when we're thinking about them. So when we notice some of those deep self limiting beliefs that come up, I'm not enough, I'll never get there, I'm an almoster, I'm hopeless, blah, blah, blah. Fill in your belief of choice. That's just a thought. And it's not real because when it's not in my mind, it doesn't exist. And if it's not real and it's this temporary illusion that I'm experiencing, that means I don't have to take it seriously because it's just a thought. Even though I feel it, even though whenever I think it, I feel down, I feel heavy, I feel tense, I feel gross, I feel dirty, I feel all these different things that those thoughts can make you feel. I'm just feeling my thinking, but a thought is just a temporary illusion. And I get to choose which thoughts I pay attention to. So when that thought comes up for me, it's never enough. I don't know why. I've had that since I was a kid. No matter what I do, it never feels like it's enough. And so now I know when that thought comes up for me, oh, I haven't done enough. Did I do enough today? I'm not doing enough. I'm not there yet. I always wanted to write a book. That was always my dream. To publish a book. And then I did publish a book, and then those thoughts were still there of never being enough. So now I can see that the thought is not related to my experience. It doesn't have anything to do with how much I've accomplished. It's just a habitual thought that I've been thinking over and over and over for a long, long time. But it's just a thought, which means it has no power, which means I can choose to let it go and not listen to it. Big topic. Didn't know we were going to go here today. If anyone's on live, again, I'll check in and see if there's any comments or questions. This is a pretty big conversation that I'm just droning on about, but it feels like it's an important one. I know with my clients, this is really important. So I'm happy to share this with all of you who are on live or watching the replay. And so this is the same for any thought. So what I like to say, so thoughts are all thoughts are neutral. Every thought we have is neutral. It has no charge, positive or negative, it's neutral. It has no meaning. We give our thoughts meaning when we give them attention and when we think more about them. So, like my example, I was saying that thought of, oh, I haven't done enough, it's not enough, I'm not enough, blah, 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 blah. That thought itself is neutral. But when it comes into my awareness, especially more so before I learned this, that thought would come up and it would feel very emotional. I would start, it would make me feel down and heavy and pressure and stressed. And so then I would think about it and I would start to feel all these things and I would charge it up with my attention. Because the more attention that we give thoughts, the bigger they get, the more powerful, the more emotional they get, the more we think about them and try and figure them out, they become bigger. But we can start to see that there are thoughts that we don't want to give our attention to because they're simply not true. We don't have to believe them anymore. We can see that they no longer make sense. A lot of those thoughts are something that we have since childhood, something about ourselves or our parents or growing up or life itself that we've just carried with us. We saw the world through a 6-year-old mind, created these beliefs, and then carried them with us into adulthood. And we can start to see our thoughts from that third person point of view, and that some of those thoughts just aren't accurate. We don't have to listen to them anymore. It's time to let them go. And we let them go by not giving them our attention, because we can't choose which thoughts we get. Unfortunately, I wish I had a magic pill I could give you and give myself and get to choose what thoughts come into our awareness. That doesn't exist. But what does exist is learning that you get to choose which thoughts you pay attention to. So we're all going to be getting this full spectrum of thoughts, right? The happy, happy, I love my life, rainbows and butterflies and bunny rabbits and everything's wonderful thoughts, to the other side of the spectrum, the dark, heavy, negative, I'm not enough, I'm hopeless, I'm this, I'm that, the world is terrible, this, that. We all get all of those thoughts coming into our mind throughout the day. And then we get to choose which ones we listen to, which ones we fire up with our attention, which ones we believe to be true, because not every thought you think is true. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. Just because you think it doesn't mean you need to act on it. So, another example of a thought that doesn't need to be acted on is, I know it's a common experience for myself and a lot of people I work with. If you try to sit down and do nothing, right? So sit quietly for 15 minutes, not look at your phone, not check email, go on social media, not listen to music or a podcast or read a book. Just sit and do nothing for 15 minutes to just give yourself a break, slow down your mind. What can come up is this feeling of guilt, this feeling of I should be doing something, I'm not being productive, I need to do something with my time. Does that sound familiar? I know I get it. That's why I'm asking. But that also itself is a thought that wants to be acted on, but you don't need to act on it. So, oh, I shouldn't take this time for myself. I've got so much to do. I've got to get ready for dinner. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I shouldn't be taking this time to do nothing. I'm lazy, blah, blah, blah. On and on the thought goes. But that is simply just a thought that doesn't need to be true and doesn't need to be acted on. Because by sitting still for 15 minutes every single day, just sitting, doing nothing, and just taking deep breaths, wow, that is going to have a huge impact on your life. Slowing down your nervous system, slowing down your mind, giving your mind a break, just letting those thoughts go as they come into your awareness. Oh, I should be doing something, blah, blah, blah. I'm not being productive. That's just a thought. Doesn't need to be acted on. You don't have to listen to it. And when you don't listen to it, that's how we let thoughts go. A lot of people ask me, okay, how? Okay, great. Now, how? What's the technique? How do I actually do that? How do I actually let thoughts go? Everybody asks that. There is no technique, because a technique is more thinking. A technique, a process, a strategy is more thought about how to do something, thinking about thinking. Then you got double time thinking. So there is no strategy. It's actually about just not listening to your thoughts, letting them be there, letting them be there. And when you don't listen to them, give them your attention, treat it like it's a loud radio in the other room, treat it like it's, say you lived in an apartment and on the other side of the wall was a loud neighbor or some music that you didn't like that was playing, and you just try your best to just not listen to it. Let it be there. Can't change it. That's how you let thoughts go, is just by not listening to them, letting them be there, not getting too upset with them. Because the more upset you get with them, the more you try and push against them, force them to change, resist them, be annoyed by them. That keeps them there. But the less that you care that they're there, the less bothered you are, the quicker they go. And then it becomes this process of riding the wave of your thoughts, because some days they're really noisy and loud and everything feels hard, and some days they're quiet and it feels a lot easier to access your quiet mind. But there is no right or wrong way to be. That's just riding the wave of your thoughts. And one other thing that's popping up that's important to say is I notice for myself, it becomes a pattern then of times of the day when my mind feels noisier than other times. You start to notice the pattern of that wave. So for myself in the mornings, I'm a morning person. My mind is quiet. It's so nice. I get up before everyone else in my house and I have this really nice quiet mind time. In the evening, for whatever reason, it's like the volume gets cranked on my mind, and my mind is quite busy in the evening. It could be because of having a busy day. It could be from being tired as well. I find when I'm tired, my mind is busier. That's just a signal that I'm tired, and so that it's louder. And this used to bother me in the evening. Right? Why is my mind so busy? What do I have to do to fix this? Blah 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 blah. Again, more thinking about thinking about thinking. Now I know. Oh, it's the evening. My mind's kind of louder. Okay, it's all right. Just let it be there. It'll pass through. It'll continue on. Got a bit of allergies going on. Great. So I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have questions, feel free to send me a private message on LinkedIn or leave a comment here below the event. I do want to mention that if this sounds interesting to you, I am starting up a group training in May where we're going to be meeting on Zoom for 30-minute sessions where we're going to go deep into how to implement this into your life. We're going to talk about sleep, how to use the neuroscience of sleep cycles to optimize your sleep, how to establish your morning routine every day so that you tune into this space of your quiet mind every single day. It becomes your reset every morning, starting off on the right foot. It becomes your new baseline state. We're going to be talking more in depth about how to access your quiet mind and getting in touch with the feeling of it and how you can start to go there more often throughout your day. We're going to be talking about triggers, how to recognize triggers in your environment that send you off, maybe get you all fired up or get your blood pressure up, how to recognize triggers, and then how to pause and change your reaction to them. And that one's based on neuroscience. Super interesting. We're talking about deepening your listening skills. So, how to be a better listener, how to listen with a quiet mind, and how to speak with a quiet mind by being present. It transforms all of your communication. It's amazing. And we're also talking about relationships. When you bring this space of a quiet mind to relationships at work with colleagues and also at home with family members and your loved ones, everything shifts from you from the inside out. You bring forward this new way of being and then you deepen relationships. It's so much easier to connect with people when there's just less mental noise. And then it's like for my marriage, it's been absolutely amazing to connect from this space with my husband and just deepen our relationship. So, anyways, in a nutshell, that's what we're going to be covering. We're going to be meeting as a group in these short spurts to cover each topic. If you would be interested in hearing more about that, I have a PDF that I would be happy to send you. Send me a message on LinkedIn and say group training, or drop a note in the comments beneath this event here, say group training, and I will send you that PDF to see if it's something you'd be interested in joining us for. I'm really excited about it. It's what I teach my clients in one-on-one, and then I'm sharing it also in a group setting, which is great for networking for everyone as well too. So thanks so much for watching. It's been great to have you here. Thanks for tuning in, whether you were live or on the replay. I really appreciate your time. I know it's a work day. And so thank you so much for your time and for starting to recognize this space in yourself, because it's important and it can change your life. So thanks for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.